Hey everybody, this is Chance from Aquaescape. Today I am going to show you something that everybody's been asking about since I first started sharing me growing the immersive aquatics. Something that I had to make an amended version for to share with everybody because my true soil version, my true version of my soil requires muck, basically is what it is, a really dense sediment from Belglade, Florida. It's absolutely amazing. It'll grow anything. It's just years of herbaceous prehistoric growth that has just been sequestered and decayed, and over 2,000 or so years of just the Everglades being drained. And yeah, it's cool stuff. If you want to research it, just look up Belglade, Florida, and read about their black gold soil. It's cool stuff. The microbes that are in it are amazing. If you had the opportunity, if you live in Florida and you're looking for something to grow anything, that will grow anything. It's in literally every one of these plants. But for the amended version, I'm going to be using things that anybody can get from any garden supply store, Amazon even, Walmart, Home Depot, whatever, just so everybody can make this mix. I just want to show you what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using right here this Miracle Grow Performance Organic. This is the container mix. That's very important because there is a topsoil mix and there's a container mix, and I believe there's one more mix. But the biggest thing, and you can pull this up online, or I can try to get it zoomed in to show you. But the biggest thing is on the ingredients. You want to look. This isn't derived from poultry manure. If you look, there's no poultry manure, there's no chicken manure or anything in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on there or not. It's not a big deal. But that's the biggest thing you want to look for, that there's no manure in it. That will be a saving grace. The manure in these bins over a long period of time, the organics, as they break down with all this water, you'll get lots of anaerobic bacteria, lots of nasty things will happen. It'll smell horrible. The roots of the plants won't like it. Plants won't like it. It'll just become a noxious mess. So even with this, as you can see here, this has already been prepped. I do not just dump this out of the bag and start using it. This has been sitting here and being rinsed and rinsed down off and allowed to dry out for a while now. As far as a time frame, there's not really much of a time frame. What you're looking for is no odor to your soil. There's absolutely no smell to this dirt. It's odorless. I don't have COVID, so I can smell everything. And this is scentless. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for nice odorless dirt, that kind of breaks down easily. There's going to be clumps from it just kind of sitting around, but it's fine. So, odorless dirt. As far as the time period, again, it's going to fluctuate because what's happening here is you're allowing the organics to really start to dissolve off. And another reason why I like this mix other than other mixes, apart from it being non-manure based, it's all aged organics that are on this that they claim to use. So there's no like freshly plucked chicken feathers in here. Like I've gotten some bags when I was testing this amended version of my soil. I used so many different brands of soil and tried so many different bins, and a lot of the brands had like looked like they literally just plucked a chicken and threw it into the bag of soil and was like, here you go. But this one I haven't found any like whole feathers. There's no chunks of organics. What you will see in here are chunks of sticks, mulch, things like that. Those can be troublesome in the long run because they do start to dissolve, and then they start to release their own bacterias and things along those lines. And you can fix that with a simple solution of screening the soil. I like to screen it. I screen it all the time. I screen everything even before I started using the bag stuff. When I would get just regular topsoil like I was talking about from Belglade, I still screen it just because you find rocks and chunks of sticks and things like that in there that just aren't good for your mix. They're not part of what I want in the mix, so I take them out. You can make this very easily. This is just a top from a storage container, like a Rubbermaid storage container. Costco in particular sells these big ones for like $8. They're great. The bottom of this one's actually making my my aquatic soil, which I'll show you guys how I do that in another video, ones that I actually use in an aquarium, that I'm hoping to pelletize and make available for folks soon, but we'll see. But anyway, this right here is just hardware cloth, or even chicken wire, or whatever you want to call it, but it's 10 gauge hardware cloth, so 10 gauge spacing in between there. But it's just cut and zip tied on here, you know, so it's nice and firm. And I just take handfuls of dirt or a shovel if you want. I prefer to use my hands because I'll break it down with my hands before I put it on the screen. And again, this isn't the bin that it goes on, so it's going to be sketchy. And just rake it back and forth. You can see all the sticks and mulch basically that's inside that soil. I come to find that most of that bag is going to be sticks and stuff. But it's cool because I grow philodendron and monstera and other, you know, terrestrial, like jungle-esque plants, and they like chunky soil. So I will put this stuff aside and I will use it when I repot some philodendrons or whatever. I'll add it to a different soil mix that I use for the terrestrial guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and get enough soil to where I can make a couple bins up for you guys in here. And this is the base of what I'm doing. This is again, the base is just this dirt. This Miracle-Gro Organics. So the reason I'm using the camera is so I do what you need, but this is worth it because all of this stuff that you're seeing here, all of that will rot in your bin. And in the rotting process, it will gather bacteria that will eat it, which is why things rot. And those bacteria will release gases and other things, because that's what they do. And that will cause your soil to get septic, nasty, smelling, just basically bacteria farts. What it smells like, to be honest with you. So, but I save all that stuff because the terrestrial plants. My dog's down on the floor there. That's Royce. He's the Ireo sniffing dog. When I was looking for Ireo Calvin compressum, he went out with me to find them. And he got off lead. I let him off lead, and I turn around the corner where he's going or whatever. I'm thinking he's just like going after a lizard or whatever, and right around that corner is where I found my first large patch of Ireo compressum. So he's got that nickname now. So I got the soil all screened out. Like I said, majority of the bags that you use or whatever are going to be this nice chunky woody stuff. If you grow terrestrial plants, save it. This is the most perfect looking mix for Anthurium, Monstera, Philodendron, stuff like that. Looks exactly like my mix actually that I do, but it isn't. I'm going to use it for it though. So, hurrah. For that, you don't have to waste it. But what you really want, what you're looking for, what you want your soil to be like, is this right here. Nice, soft, perfect loamy soil. Just kind of falls, there's no chunks, nothing. Really nice loose soil. So now we're going to add stuff to this, because this is again just your base. So because I don't feed liquid foods, I don't fertilize with liquids. Like a lot of people know that about me. I don't go and I don't make Miracle-Gro mixes and feed my plants with water or any liquid nutrients or any of that stuff. I solely foliar feed, and I build a very strong soil. I build a very nutrient-rich soil. To do that, I add a few things in there. So you have your base mix here. This does have enough in there to grow plants. There is nutrients in here. You can go straight from this to that and cap it and grow plants for a bit. But again, you'll have to eventually add more nutrients into that. With my mix, my bins can last. I just broke down my very first setup of bins, and they were about 4 to 5 years old. And they finally started getting stagnant growth, and some of them even, the soil was completely depleted down to where it was just like a layer of moss that the plants were growing in. So the first thing that I'm going to add is some Epsom salt. Epsom salt is a great source of magnesium, as all Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, or MgSO4. You can get Epsom salt anywhere. Publix sells it, or supermarkets, your local supermarkets. Not everybody has a Publix. Any kind of drugstore, pharmacy, anything like that. Any kind of hydroponic store will have it. Yes, Epsom salt, MgSO4. You can even get it from aquarium fertilizer providers and stuff like that. So now, where I fall short, or where a lot of people are gonna, I guess, question me or anything like that, I don't have a measured amount. There's no ratios that I do. Everything's kind of by eye, mainly because the things that I am adding to this soil aren't going to harm the plant in excess. They are a time-released fertilizer, some magnesium sulfate, and earthworm castings. So nothing that I am adding in here will damage or harm the plants if I add too much. It just won't happen. I am a little cautious on the magnesium sulfate, mainly because of sulfate, so I don't add too much of it, but what I'll do is I'll show you what you're looking for when you mix it. I just kind of go over the top of the soil and give it a nice top coating. I'll have to angle this so you guys can see it. I lost the plate for the camera that allows it to be like quickly snapped on and off. So it has to be unscrewed and stuff, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But this is what you're looking for, where it's just nice and lightly dusted, you know? Like you're powdering a funnel cake or something, you know? Nothing too crazy. And that's really the only additive that I am like careful on how much I add. And again, it's mainly just because of the sulfate. It has nothing to do with the magnesium. It's solely just, I don't want a high sulfate level in the soil. So this here is bioactive earthworm castings made by a well-known company. Unfortunately, this is the only ingredient that I am not amending out of my original mix. I don't know if you can readily find this everywhere, but it's Terra Thrive. It's an earthworm casting mycorrhizae microbacterial mix of all sorts of goodness. It's amazing stuff. I'm talking over a bucket and y'all can't see it, but this is what it looks like. So really, really nice, again, fine, powdery earthworm castings. And it also, again, it has a mycorrhizae in it, which will help with root development and root growth and everything along those lines. My horticultural practice revolves around the root of the plant. Anytime that there's an issue with the plant, anytime that I notice the plant drooping or not growing well, or has funky growth patterns or whatever, first thing I do is I check the root. You know, regardless, I check the root. Especially in aquatics, because it's so easy to just pull them up and check the root. And that'll tell you a lot. You know, if you have necrotic spots on your roots and stuff like that, there's something up with your soil. It can typically easily be fixed even in an aquarium with just, you know, either A, cleaning that section of the aquarium out, like, you know, vacuuming and removing sections of soil and, you know, removing that detritus or whatever is built up down there, dissolved organics that are clogging your soil up, that are causing your roots to grow necrotic, and just putting fresh soil down in there. In this aspect, if you start noticing that, the easiest thing to do is, A, you can do a nice light watering with the, I use about 25% peroxide in 1 liter container, the rest all fresh water, the regular 3% peroxide or 6% peroxide, I think it is, or whatever you buy in the brown bottle, I think it's 3%. And that can allow the roots to breathe. It'll aerate the soil. I just water it in between, and that does what it does. Allows the roots to come back. But you can't do that in an aquarium. You have to pull it up and do some maintenance on it. So this is what you're looking for the earthworm castings. Just again, a nice layer, thicker than the Osmocote, or sorry, thicker than the Epsom salt. Obviously, we don't want too much Epsom salt, like I said. But with the earthworm castings, you can never have too much of that. So once that's done, we have that in there. We now go to this. This is just a general purpose fertilizer. I got this from Tractor Supply, if you have one of those nearby. I actually got a lot of this stuff from Tractor Supply, so if you have one of those nearby, you can get most of this there. But it's just an all-purpose fertilizer, 10-10-10, that's the NPK ratio. It's good stuff. It's an all-season fertilizer, nice balanced ratio, general purpose fertilizer. I switched from Osmocote to this because of price, number one. Number two, Osmocote, I was noticing inconsistencies and all sorts of different aspects of growth when I was using it in different bins. So I wanted to try something different just to see how it goes. But another thing I like about this is it's all individual little minerals, not just a clumpy ball. So this I'll just add a nice light dusting. A little bit less than the magnesium sulfate. You can see not that much, not that little. One day I'll figure the ratios out for you guys, but I mean, it's only as difficult as you make it, growing plants. If you make it difficult, it is difficult. If you just follow simple protocols of just eyeing things out and not adding too much or too little of something, it works all the same. So now, as a stabilizer and as a filler, I add some Safety Zorb. This stuff helps retain moisture. Because I don't grow my bins, I don't keep my bins extremely wet. I don't keep them extremely saturated. There's no standing water in my bins. There's no any of that. That helps prevent mold, fungus, as well as the anaerobic bacteria that I was telling you about. I add this because Safety Zorb absorbs water and will hold water for a very long time. It's a calcified clay mix. Another good thing about this stuff is it does contain a ppm of calcium and ferrous iron in it. So another good thing to add to what you're dealing with. So with this stuff, I cover the whole top of the mix because this is really just going to help bulk up your soil. I'll add probably a quarter of the bag. It's a 40-pound bag. I'll add about 15 pounds or so. So now that I have everything in there, I'm just going to mix it up. And again, use your hands, use a shovel, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. Just mix it up good. This is where screening that dirt, when I did in the beginning there, really helps.
Screening the dirt makes this part so much easier because I'm now not having to just break up a bunch of clumps by hand and all that stuff. So it's just all nice and already done. I'm going to probably add some more safety zorb in this mix and some more worm castings too.
Adding all this in here.
I know it's really going to bug folks that I'm not giving you ratios or whatever, but you'll see what the soil looks like and then you'll be able to make your mix. I need a really big scale and then I'll give you guys ratios. Alright.
So, that's what you're looking for. Just like that. It's a nice mix. Has a nice loamy feel to it. Not too sticky. Good dirt. So, when you're to this step, you're ready to add it into the bins and start wetting it down and growing your plants then. Something I want to emphasize is you do not go straight from the bag to your container. You do have to let it cook off a little bit. If you do that, you go from the bag to the container, you'll experience a lot of issues as far as organics starting to bubble up in there. Like I was saying, you'll have decay, all sorts of nasty stuff happening. So that step of letting it cook off on a tart for a while is crucial. Straining it out also I found helps a lot with that too, because those wood chips, they do decay, they will cause rot. So just to reiterate and to put emphasis on that, please, if you're going to use the bag stuff and not source the topsoil and everything else, let the organics cook off. So, these are the two containers I primarily grow out of, right here. Actually, you know what, man? This could be a whole separate video, making the bins. Alright, so I'll cut that all out. And then we'll just start right here. Okay, so now that the soil's made up and I explained basically the benefits of using bioactive soil versus inert soil, again, better microbes in here, better for the plants. You're going to allow for better nutrient uptake. The bacteria that forms in these will also keep away bad bacteria that will come up over time. It will also help with pest control along those lines, and you can add beneficial pest into your greenhouse, or beneficial biologicals rather. Beneficial pest would be a horrible oxymoron, but you can add beneficial biologicals like ladybugs, Bacillus thuringus, or even those little assassin wasps. And those guys do an amazing job at controlling bugs inside your greenhouse. Growing in South Florida, you will get bugs. I've never grown anywhere else, so I can't speak to your area. I imagine where there's plants, there's some sort of pest. So if you can minimize that by using biologicals, that's the best way to do it. Because remember, these plants are going into your aquarium with your fish. your shrimp, your any kind of fauna that you have, and it'd be horrible to add a piece of plant or an aquatic into that tank that has been sprayed by a pesticide. So that's why I solely use biologicals at this point. That, and you use too much of a pesticide, you could fry your whole stock. So yeah, that's my soil mix. Again, to run down it, Miracle-Gro organic. This right here is your base. Add in a bit of magnesium sulfate or Epsom salt, available anywhere, pretty much. Very common. Any kind of all-purpose fertilizer works wonderfully. Osmocote works good too. If you want to use Osmocote, use it. That's perfectly fine. Osmocote's great. Safety Zorb. I haven't found a substitute for Safety Zorb yet, so Safety Zorb it is. It's awesome too. I don't think I'll ever look for a substitute of it. At $7 a bag, it's absolutely perfect. And earthworm castings. Again, I use the Terra Thrive earthworm castings. You can use any kind of earthworm castings. Make sure that they're sterilized though. The sterilized castings are going to have much better results for you, as the non-sterilized castings can have, actually have been known to have viruses and things along those lines in it. So make sure you get sterilized earthworm castings, or sterilize your own earthworm castings if you have that kind of farm going. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to be adding these to bins and doing some plant growth here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this. And follow me for what we're going to be doing in here. Just a little sneak preview. I have all of these ready to go inside of this greenhouse here. This is quite a large greenhouse. I forgot the dimensions, to be honest, but it's one of my bigger ones that I have going on, and I have lots and lots and lots of space to grow. So we're going to fill all these up and we're going to grow all sorts of cool stuff. So be sure to follow the channel and I will teach you how to grow every single one of these plants that are going to be in here. Have a good one, guys.